So I am currently in the emergency room. Hooked up to an IV bag. And trying to figure out why I am in pain. Go figure. My gut hurts so bad. Every time I bend my arm, the alarm goes off. Isn't that just wonderful? The joys of having only one good vein. Well, it's now 6:30-ish, and I am finally going home. I had to stop at the store to get some Miralax because the barium that I had from the barium swallow study on Monday is stuck at the opening somewhere in the opening of my large intestines. My swallow study that was interesting. I had to wait to get my report from the ER doctor. Thank you, helicopter. So it is Monday night. The last time I checked in with y'all, it was Friday. I had just left the ER. And stopped at the store to get Miralax. Well, that's not working. Love my bald spot there. The joys of malabsorption, I guess. I don't know. I did learn that my esophagus is not working properly. I'm having tertiary contractions. And then, of course, it's not emptying properly into my stomach. It's closing. And what I learned at the ER, from the ER doctor, who was really, really nice and was fairly knowledgeable of Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, was that the barium from the barium swallow study I had last Monday, there was still some in my stomach. There was still some in my small intestine. There was still some in, and then of course it's still, in my colon. I haven't passed it yet. it hasn't come out. I don't know what's going on. The GI that I am currently seeing has been totally uncooperative. The nurse practitioner that I spoke with, when she called to give me the results of my swallow study, I asked about some images that the tech had taken of my stomach during the swallow study, and the nurse practitioner argued with me over this, and she got really offended about how they didn't order pictures of my stomach and didn't want to hear about it. And I'll insert these pictures right here. Now, as you can see, yeah, I don't know. There was nothing about that on the radiologist report either. So it's just kind of odd. I'm not getting accurate radiology reports. The GI is refusing to look at the images. I don't even know if he knows how to read the CT images. And so anyway, he had ordered blood work last week on Tuesday, and it came back that my platelet count had dropped 40 from in the 180s to the 130s, 140s, yeah, 40, 50. It dropped drastically. I think it was 139 or something. And it showed that I was, he said borderline anemic, but I was actually anemic. My hemoglobin and hematocrit were below normal, as well as my red blood count. And some other things were really low and had dropped. My iron levels were bottoming out, and I brought that to the attention of my primary care doctor, and he faxed over the blood work I had just had done last month, which showed my iron levels and everything at a normal to high normal, and my white blood count was high. My platelets were in the 180s, and it just so. And then the blood work I had at the emergency room, she said I wasn't anemic. There were some other oddities, but I was dehydrated despite having been drinking as much fluid as I could possibly stomach, which of course isn't a whole lot when your esophagus doesn't want to work properly, and neither does your stomach. But I try to drink as much as possible, which is about 1.5 quarts a day, plus 2 cups of coffee in the morning. Because I can't go without coffee, and I've actually lowered my intake of coffee. I used to be a 2-pot of coffee a day, and I've cut that all back to two cups a day. Today I haven't even eaten anything except I tried to eat a breadstick. That bad boy did not even want to go down. It hurt so bad to try to swallow. So to try to help progress things along with the Miralax, I tried attacking from the other end. It was not as eventful as I had expected it to be, let's put it that way. I have already contacted my primary care doctor, and he is getting all the ER test results, and I've got to get in and see him this week for follow-up. And he knows that the Miralax isn't working. And what's really sad is that is what I have to take for my prep for my colonoscopy that's coming up very soon. They've also added an endoscopy to that. Oh. This is not good when my plumbing isn't moving anything. And I have an uncooperative GI that doesn't seem to care. I don't know what I'm going to do. Eating is causing more issues other than the pain that is creating. It's not digesting properly. I'm also experiencing a lot of nerve pain coming up here, and of course behind my ear again. The back of my head is deforming more. The lump that I have on this right side below my occipital bone is growing more, and I'm getting puffier, is the only word I can use to describe the skin of the scalp area. I never used to be puffy back here. Now it's getting puffy. Well, it is now April 30th. And this month has just been hell on wheels. Bo's not happy. He's not laying next to me on the couch. I ended up in the emergency room again Thursday night, getting an x-ray of my left ankle. I'll insert a picture of it here. Oh! So that happened after a muscle spasm that started in my calf. Oh, hi, Bo. And traveled to my shin. And the reason why that happened is because my system isn't absorbing my medications, like my Topamax, which is supposed to stop the spasms and that. And they diagnosed me with a slight sprain of my ankle. But the reason why I went in is because I have a history of deep vein thrombosis in the left leg. I have Turner syndrome. I have 3 stents in my iliac artery in my abdomen. That happened after my lumbar fusion in 2012. My entire left leg was full of blood clots. My mom said that the on the ultrasound, it just looked like somebody had poured gravel in my left leg from my groin to my ankle. That's how severe it was. And that was because the vascular surgeon who saw me the first time I went to the ER told me to shut up and quit crying, suck it up, and go home. Yeah. He wasn't allowed to touch me or come near me after that. Anyway, so after an x-ray of my ankle and a venous ultrasound, they determined that I was okay. There was no blood clots, thank God. My ankle was fine. And they gave me a bag of fluids because I was experiencing a tremendous pressure headache. And the ER doctor felt that I was a little dehydrated, and that the fluids might help with the pressure headache. And although it really didn't help with the pressure headache because that was from intracranial pressure, it did stop my eyes from being so dry because I was dehydrated. So we got home, let's see, about 2:45 in the morning. So I've got 2 hospitals that I can go to safely now that are very understanding and know Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome and their comorbidities. One is fairly close to me. They're both Seton hospitals. The doctors are very knowledgeable, very caring. And the reason why I couldn't go to the one that was close to me is because they didn't have an ultrasound tech on call. And it's a small community hospital. So I ended up having to go downtown Austin, which is kind of a drive. And it was very uncomfortable to get there. But they got me in really quickly. And the doctor was in and out very fast. And the treatment was phenomenal. So shout out to Del Seaton for taking such great care of me and everything. So as far as the updates on my digestive issues, well, as you see, I am laying down. I have a trusty heating pad on my belly today. I am a little over about a week and a half away from my colonoscopy and now endoscopy. After my appointment last Thursday with my primary care doctor, who is amazing. I don't know where I'd be without him. Because I've had to take so much Miralax to try to get the barium out of my system from the barium swallow study, which I still haven't seen after 2 weeks now. I was like, so where does this leave me for the colonoscopy prep? And he was like, just do the best you can. That's all you can do. And I was like, okay. Because I basically, in 3 days, I basically took the same amount of Miralax as I will be taking for my colonoscopy prep. And it really didn't do anything for me. And then, of course, the fleet enema, I was, sorely disappointed in that outcome. It left me with a horrid pressure headache. But these are still things that I have to do for my prep for the colonoscopy. So what I'm going to be doing starting today is kind of a clear liquid soft diet type of thing until my colonoscopy, because my motility is like zilch. It shall be interesting to see what the results are of my colonoscopy and endoscopy. My swallow study showed that my esophagus has a stricture at the opening of my stomach. With tertiary contractions. I don't know if I told y'all that earlier. So everything has a tendency of getting hung up and not wanting to really go down. And then, of course, once it does go down, I'm full. And then it just kind of like sits there until it empties, and then it, I don't know, my stomach has that weird P-trap thing going on. It just, then I feel gross for a while, with some pretty weird pain. So, it's just, I don't know. I can't seem to catch up on hydration because of all of that. And what's weird is I'm not even losing weight. My body's in starvation mode, and it's just hanging on to every molecule of fat that is stored, and it's not letting go. So it's just, it would rather hang on to it than utilize it. Go figure. Anyway, that's all for now, so bye.